Hi, I'm Justin.
Also, I hate the way my voice sounds, so if you can do whatever Photoshop does to voices, make me sound awesome.
And this is my lovely friend,
The beauty in the eyes of the beholder, and it's just about getting into the seat of being the beholder.
Hayley.
I don't think you have to be particularly perceptive. I just think you have to look up.
This podcast is mostly just her telling me stories.
If you expose yourself to the possibility that this might be really awkward, there can be something just really cool on the other side of it.
She thinks that her life and way of looking at things are
Oh, I was kind of waiting on you. I thought you were getting your stuff ready. You're waiting on me?
pretty normal.
You got to edit out all the misinformation about the Amish.
Maybe you can relate.
I would like a chance to re-sing the Amish Paradise.
If you want lighthearted stories
All right, you want to talk about goats?
and stream of consciousness,
I just woke up and needed some friends, and so I bought them.
then you're gonna like the Sunny Side Up podcast.
Sunny side up, sunny side up, sunny side up, sunny side up.
So, if you're at all like me, you may feel that you're living in a world that can be a bit overwhelming and confusing at times. I'm also a huge fan of podcasts, documentaries, docudramas, stories, and of just information in general. Between all of that and the social media and news, sometimes our brains can feel like they're on overload. Hayley and I hope that this podcast can be something of an antidote to all of that. Like little jello shots of joy and distraction. None of it is too serious or really too informative. Mostly it's just two friends who have conversational chemistry talking about whatever enters the minds of relatively ADHD people. We hope you enjoy. So, I'm going to land this plane with a story about it's Waffle House adjacent, literally.
IHOP.
Nope.
Denny's.
Nope.
Cracker Barrel.
Nope. If you go to the Waffle House that I was talking about earlier, where my little lovely waitress lady was schnackered on Thanksgiving but still showed up for work because she duty required, next door is a delightful little place called Martin's. And Martin's is pretty local to this area, I think. I don't probably know more than like 10 or 15 Martin's that I know of. Ooh, cool side note about Martin's. Martin's Biscuits, where we had our biscuits this morning. Yeah. They originally were partnered with Chick-fil-A before Chick-fil-A became big. And they sold Chick-fil-A's hamburgers until Chick-fil-A until it started outselling the rest of their menu or something like that. I don't remember what happened. I'm pretty sure that's the story. I may be wrong on that.
The original Chick-fil-A's are here, and they still sell their original,
Yeah.
because it has been a goal of mine to eat at a couple of those.
Yeah, we should do it. Like the Dwarf Houses are great because you can get things that are not on the normal menu.
Right, and then there's another one that's a little bit Polynesian themed.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah,
And
that one's a little bit of a drive away, but it's amazing. I love it.
Okay, for historical research purposes.
Well, that one's new. That one's like a novelty. That one's new. That one opened up in 18 or 19. 19, I think, is when that one opened, the Polynesian one. But the Dwarf House ones, and I believe those are old. Those are OG.
For some reason, I thought the other one was also maybe they had a table service restaurant back in the day, the Cathy family, before Chick-fil-A kind of took off. I thought the Polynesian there was an original. But, so Martin's was part of that. What a heritage this state has in the fast food landscape.
And Waffle House started here, too. Clearly, I don't know if you know that, but yeah.
What?
Yeah, Waffle House started in Georgia.
Georgia. I have got some ideas for your license plate. If you want to celebrate your heritage.
Yeah, Waffle House, Martin's, and Chick-fil-A. Come on. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Those are significant.
Yes.
Has any other state had such?
Clearly not. I don't even need to do the research. You put those three up, I think other states, they just immediately head hung in absolute dejection and walk out of the ring. It would be like getting into the ring with Mike Tyson and you look like me with no training. You're just like, sir, I don't want to get hit that hard.
Mike Tyson before the face tattoos or after the face tattoos?
Mike Tyson. You pick him anytime.
I was just trying to have that accurate mental picture.
No, yeah.
I really love those face tattoos.
They're pretty intense.
Yeah.
I like Tyson, though.
I don't know anything about boxing. So.
Yeah. Well, he was insanely talented as a boxer until he started biting people's ears off. But what's really great is the the new and improved Mike Tyson of like the last decade or so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't listen to him religiously, but I've probably heard like a few hours of him collectively over the last few years. And he is this beautiful, humble, strange, honest dude. He's an absolutely beautiful human being.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like if you catch anything like where you're like someone's just sitting down talking to him, he's really interesting, like surprisingly deep, surprisingly thoughtful, surprisingly spiritual, really fascinating guy. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, adjacent to the Waffle House is Martin's. And so I don't remember. It was pre-Thanksgiving. I think it was early in November. Mama was still here before she made her pilgrimage to Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in walking distance of Martin's. It's like 1.5 miles. So one day we walked to Martin's and the three of us were eating, me, Mama, and Ollie, at Martin's. If you don't know what Martin's is this delightfully greasy little like breakfast lunch place that we only ever really eat like breakfast stuff, and they make biscuits, and then they put things like sausage and ham or pork loin or steak or whatever in, and you can do egg and cheese. So like what I always get is the pork loin, egg and cheese, or steak, egg and cheese, or something like that, whatever. And they do incredible onion rings. I love their onion rings. They have a pretty reasonable shake. I think they do some like hamburgers, that and the other, which are like whatever. But they're primarily, I would think, like a biscuit breakfast place with like southern goodness. You can get grits there, eggs, whatever. Okay. So we walked there, we're sitting down, and there was this table of older folk that was eating together. And it was like, we kind of made a couple comments to ourselves, like, oh, they're so cute. Look, that looks like such a cool thing, like whatever. And then towards the end of when most of them have thinned out, Ollie sees this like, kind of like one of the last dudes, this adorable looking little dude who's still kind of eating. And she's just like drawn to him. Can't explain it. She's just like, I want to be that guy's friend. And because she's Ollie and all the wonderful things, she kind of just walks over and is like, hi. And he's like,
I see you're eating breakfast. I'm eating breakfast too. Let's eat breakfast together.
Hi. And she's like, just starts talking to him. And basically, in so many words or directly, I don't remember, is like, would you want to be my friend? And he starts telling her like all the cool stuff. And she knows how much like I love stories and interesting people and all stuff. So she brings him over, and I have the presence of mind to set up my phone against like the salt and pepper shakers or whatever it was, and I recorded this man. And he is 91 years old, I think. He's 91 years old. His nickname is Mousy because he's a little teeny dude, and I guess his buddies in like the war or whatever, because he fought in Korea, named him Mousy. I don't know exactly when he got the name, but he's like probably 5'4". He's just a little dude, sweet as can be. I get his life story. Some of the highlights of this man's story is this is mind-blowing because he was born during the Depression. He started working, hired himself out as a field laborer at 5 years old. I want you to stop and think for 2 seconds.
He hired himself out at that age?
Yeah.
Where were his parents?
I don't know.
Somebody was profiting off this little kid.
Yeah, unclear. But at 5 years old, he became a hired, like, field hand.
Yeah.
Incredible. Saved his money, and at 12 years old, because of an invention, which I'll get into in 2 seconds, he was able to start push mowing at a high rate and bought his family their first living room suite, the whole thing. Himself at 12 years old. So what he did to make the money is he had one of those, he was push mowing with those, you know, the little thing that's like basically a pair of scissors on wheels. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Yeah, whatever that thing is. That's what was available to him. So as far as we know, as far as he knows, he invented the first gasoline-powered push lawnmower ever, or at least in this area. There was a lady who had a washing machine that was a gas-powered, like, pull-start engine washing machine, and she was getting upgraded to an electric engine, and she was getting rid of the engine, and he saw her doing that, and he was like, can I have that engine? And she's like, yeah. And his little 12-year-old brain was like, I'm sick of pushing this stupid thing. I'm going to take that motor that was spinning her washing machine. I'm going to build a little platform. I'm going to fashion some blades. And he literally stuck the washer machine motor on top of his little platform, attached the blades to it, and then just started like slaying the push mowing business. Like crazy cool, right? So, so starts his inventor journey, as far as I know, like around 12 years old. And that mower now resides in the Powder Springs little back part of the museum, which is dope. And we've got to go see it at some point. And then he goes on to just like, he invents and invents and invents. Like, one of the things was a special kind of light bulb that ended up being used in like hundreds of film developing places. It was a very specialized kind of light bulb that would allow you to see but wouldn't ruin the film. He invented that light bulb and had a manufacturing facility and sold it. So that was like one of his like commercial successes. But he also invented the air manifold, I think it was, for cars. And he had it 15 years before the like GM, Ford, the big three had it. And so his car, same exact every other thing as all their cars, would drive faster, had better fuel efficiency, and would last longer than everybody else's car. Like, he'd beat them in races. Would get much better fuel efficiency. And so I don't remember if it was GM or Ford, or one of them actually sent engineers to meet with him, looked at his invention, but instead of paying him, just said, yeah, instead of paying you, we'll just steal your idea. We'll re-engineer it in our way that'll be different enough from yours, and screw you. So never paid him a dime. Go Big Three. Go America.
That's so hurtful.
That's so painful. And just, So that's kind of story of his life. Yeah, story of his life. Like, he would just come up with these crazy cool inventions. And there's a bunch more of that stuff. But that's like the kind of caliber the guy was. And like I said, did fight in Korea. All the stuff. By the way, another crazy factoid before we get to like the really mind-blowing stuff. He's been at the same Baptist church since he was 5 years old, and he's in his 90s. So for basically 85 or 86 years, he's been going to the same church. That's
goodness.
I know, right? Unheard of. Like, what? Okay. Still married to the same lady for however long. She's like in a nursing home because for the past however many years, she's not been able to like, she's
right.
Not in as good a condition as he is. Anywho. We're at the end of this. He's told us, he's been talking for probably like 20, 30 minutes. Another side note, by the way, I'm going to, if I can, I want him to give us a tour of the Powder Springs Museum. And he has a couple other inventions.
Oh, my
there.
goodness.
I know. So I want to like capture him showing us his inventions in this cute little museum. So when that happens, I'm actually going to, like, for real, I'm going to make a little, just really low budget documentary. It's just going to be like my cell phone footage of him. Just whatever, the James Moss story, because this man needs, I like, this is no joke, straight face. He needs a little statue built of him because he's like the coolest, sweetest little guy. Like, he built his own house at like 20. Anyways, whatever. This guy's crazy. Okay, like, cool.
Yeah.
And still inventing things this day. He came up with an invention. He won't talk about it that will totally revolutionize HVAC, but he won't tell us because got to protect your
after what happened before. Yeah.
So anyhow,
is he telling somebody? Is he?
I don't know. Exactly.
At this point, I would, if I've never been able to profit off of it before, I'd be like, screw y'all. My house is going to be colder than all y'all's and more efficient than all y'all's, and y'all can just suffer.
Yeah. So we're at the end of this thing, and he goes, I asked him, I say, okay, Mr. Moss, do you have any like parting words of wisdom for those of us that are younger, anything you'd like to leave? And, it's all, like, everything's off the top of his dome. So he's not like, he hasn't had time to come up with a profound anything. He's just like, well, I would definitely say taking care of your body is important because, you do eventually get old, and like the better you treat your body, then just And I'm like, oh, that's good advice. And then just in like this, and I mean this, like a throwaway, just like whatever. He's like, and he said, I did have cancer twice, and cured myself both times. And I was like,
fun footnote.
I was like, whoa. We don't just get to walk past that. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, he said, I got diagnosed with colon cancer. And he said, after the doctors diagnosed me, he said, I felt like God gave me this download of how to cure it. And he said, just came to me. And he said, I was very confident that it would work. And he said, so I just walked away from the doctor and said, no, I don't need you to do anything else. Thank you for the diagnosis. And he said and I mean literally, like he can't go on the internet to this day. And there was no internet whenever he cured himself the first time. So this literally came to him out of the sky. He decided that he was going to do colostrum, these the colostrum, the cow's colostrum,
from the early mothers.
Yep. Whatever. And mix that with astragalus, which is a Chinese herb. And I don't remember what the amounts were, like how many he was going to take a day. But he started popping those little guys. Remember, this is not drugs. This is like supplements.
This is before the era where people were talking about supplements. And I have seen a conversation about cow colostrum twice in my life. And once was earlier this week. I have no idea why I've come across it twice in the same week. But where did he come across it?
No. He
literally just download from
God just kind of told him, and he just trusted. It was divine inspiration. He trusted, and he's very careful about, like, he's like, you gotta do what's right for you. Like, he's not trying to tell you. Anyways, so he did it. He put himself on a protocol. He, I don't remember again how many times he did like heavy for like 4 weeks and tapered it off. And then, knocked it out, went back to the doctor. The doctor was like, yep, you don't have colon cancer anymore. And then later in life, he got a different kind of cancer. Don't remember which one it was. And he's like, thank you very much.
Wait, what was the second type of cancer?
I don't remember. I just don't remember. I don't think I asked him because I was still reeling from this. And so,
probably prostate cancer.
Could have been. Yeah, knocked that out. And then he, of course, told some people. And then in the last, I don't know how long, some hairdresser lady he knew said, hey, by the way, my husband has cancer, maybe colon cancer, because she kind of remembered he had colon cancer. And she was like, hey, would you be willing to share that like whatever that recipe thing with me or your protocol? And he's like, absolutely. And so he sends her the protocol, like where he got his colostrum and astragalus, and sure enough, he got cured too. No surgery, no radiation, no nothing.
Did he continue to take that regimen after the cancer's gone? Like, is this a thing we can do every day preventative?
Well, great question. And so the answer is yes. He said he he went through the protocol, got clear from it, quit taking it. And I think maybe it dawned on him after a second bout with cancer later on, like after that, where he was like,
probably shouldn't have quit.
And so he said he does do like lower amounts clearly than when you're like ramping things up. Yeah. And Ollie and I are like, you know what? We're already taking other supplements for other stuff. Like, it's all, I call it magic pills because I have no idea like what your supplements are doing anything for you or not. But like,
right.
And this is like an old guy who's like, he's not trying to sell you anything, right? He's 91 years old. Like, whatever. He's not trying to sell you anything. Doesn't have, like, they're not even his supplements. Not like it's James Moss stuff. Anyways, just fascinating little story.
Okay. Amazing. And we have a friend who currently has colon cancer. Did you mention this story to them? Mm-hmm. Were they interested in trying it?
They had already, she, of course, is already aware, I think, of both. So they started
incorporating into what.
But remember, his is further along. And that's one thing Moss told me when I was talking to him after Thanksgiving. Somebody contacted him. Stage 4, they were given, I think, like 3 to 6 weeks to live.
It's unlikely that anything can really get ahead of that.
And that's what he was saying. He's like, at 3 to 6 weeks to live, where the doctors won't even bother with like chemo or anything for you. Will this make a difference? No idea. So he's not a doctor. Like, this isn't like, do this thing, it's going to work to cure all cancer. I have no idea.
Right.
But it was definitely like, he's just like, it's like his testimony. It's just like, hey, this worked for me. And the way he did it, like, by the way, this was buried. This wasn't even like part of like what was cool in his life to him. I think the lawnmower is cooler than that. This was just like, oh yeah, I just cured myself of cancer. It was totally incidentally. I'm like, dude, what? And we're talking about like readily available, not gross, not gonna freak your body out.
Right.
I mean, like, if nothing else, do it while you're
I don't have to give up cookies. Most of the other cancer-causing non-medicine things involve me giving up cookies. And
and this dude's eating at Martin's. He's 91 years old.
Biscuits.
He's eating biscuits with sugar and grease and all the good stuff. So anyways, that's the uplifting story.
Have y'all spoken to him since then?
Yeah, so
because you mentioned earlier, you said if we see a certain vehicle, we're going to have to go in. That's got that was the guy,
yeah. So we had him to Thanksgiving because we do that.
He's the one on the couch.
He's the one on the couch, and he's the most precious little man. And he told us that after that, when he left that day, he said, "This has been the most remarkable day of my life. I've never been around so many nice people. Whatever. It's just a banner day. Just gushed on us." And then he got a few weeks after that, I checked in on him, and he was in the hospital. He had caught RSV, maybe? Is that
that was going around so bad this year. Yeah.
He got like bronchitis and RSV, so he had to stay in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days. And then he was a little teetery, so they released him to his son. And then I talked to him again when he got home. And so when I talked to him again when he got home, which was right before the new year flipped over, he had gotten. We sent the season's greeting cards, whatever.
Yeah.
Of the Thanksgiving picture to everybody in the picture, including James Moss, plus to some other people. And he was like, man, he said, you have no idea, in a really hard last couple of weeks, just being sick. And of course, he likes his freedom. He lives on his own, drives, like he takes care of himself. So not being able to take care of himself and all that stuff. And he's like, getting that card when I finally got home, he's like, it just lifted my spirits. You have no idea.
What
just
a wonderful man.
The kindest man you've ever seen. He's the nicest. We want to adopt him. But yeah, he's amazing.
Okay, so when are you going to take me to go meet him?
Right. All right. We can. Hey, listen. I know some people. Yeah, I would be. I need to call him anyways because I'm not trying to be morbid, but like in your 90s, like I don't know. Every time I call him, I'm like, I'm not guaranteed that he's going to pick up the phone. But
Which is true for all of us. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, exactly.
You should feel so impassioned
when
whenever
when your asteroid comes and zaps you. I will definitely be like, yeah, dang it, that Hayley. I really enjoyed hanging out with her.
What a special interaction, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things happen and they just feel so exceptional. And you're like, this didn't even feel like an accident. Like this interaction, we were kind of maybe on a trajectory to here and we didn't even know it.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of like just an aside, just to add to it all, but there was this like, so he's a little white dude, and there's this heavier set young black guy who is one of the employees at Martin's, and very like jovial, and he came over like because he saw us sitting with Mr. Moss, and he came over and was talking to Mr. Moss, and you could tell this kid just loves this guy, right? And it's the feelings mutual. James Moss loved him. I wish I could remember this young guy's name, but anyways. So Mr. Moss had walked outside. He was actually, I think at that point, he was gonna give Ollie this little printout of like where he got his colostrum and astragalus and like the doses and all that stuff. He made up a little printout, so he kind of wrote it down. And so she had walked out the door, and so I'm talking to this young man, and he was like, man, I'm so grateful you guys love him, or just being kind to him. He said, I just love that man so much. And he said, he reminds me of my grandpa, who was one of the Tuskegee Airmen, and was an incredible inventor. And he's like, my only thing, he said, I really wish my grandpa could have met Mr. Moss. And it was just like this beautiful moment of like, I don't know, it was weird. It was kind of spiritual almost, of like this kid who's different race, young, but like was clearly connected back to his grandpa, and then found like this Mr. Moss, just kind of found like bits and pieces of that spirit. And the thing I told him is I was like, Mr. Moss working as a hired hand starting at 5, I was like, that's just a different model of human being than is available now. Right? As just like that just doesn't exist anymore. Like whatever material he's cut from, that material is not available anymore. So, anyways,
that makes me want to go to Martin's and dine in.
Hello, lovely friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And it would mean the world if you would tell other people about this podcast and maybe even spam your social media accounts with just how much you're enjoying it. If you are, of course. Also, commenting and rating us on whatever platform you're downloading or streaming from is incredibly helpful to a little startup podcast like this one. On the other hand, if you are dissatisfied with your listening experience, please leave all of that hate on someone else's podcast. Just maybe to confuse them a little bit, right? But most of all, we hope you keep looking up and looking for the sunny side of life.